Hi guys, welcome back to the MCM buzz stage. We are live in London, and how fantastic is it again to have Warwick Davis?
Thank you. Hi.
These guys are very happy to see you.
It's a lovely little intimate little area you've got here. It's fantastic in the middle of the XL Centre in London.
It's my living room.
It's terrific. Great to see you all. Thank you for taking time out to come and listen to me ramble on for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you for coming to Ramble. And but I wanted to say congratulations on the new Star Wars movie, because frankly, I'm sure lots and lots of you have seen it. I loved it. Wasn't it great?
I mean, you say congratulations. I really didn't have much to do with it apart from being in it a little tiny bit. But it's all very nice to be there nonetheless.
But as I think I said last time, I feel like you're an ambassador for Star Wars and you promote it in a way. And you went to the premiere with your family as well. And like I said, I was watching your daughter's vlog. I mean, that must have been a lot of fun.
It was great. I mean, we had a great time at the premiere. I was actually doing a piece for the One Show as well. So I wasn't able to just enjoy the red carpet. I had to try and get interviews with all of the stars. And I remember George came up and said, "Hi Warwick, how's it going?" I said, "George, come and talk to me." And just dragged him over and interviewed him. He didn't expect it, let's just put it that way. But yeah, it was a really fun night, and great to see Star Wars back again in a way that I remember it from when I was 7 years old. It was fabulous.
And what did your family think of it? Were they starstruck at all?
I mean, yeah, we had a great night there, and we loved the film. We do. We really enjoyed it, and we went to see it actually in the 4D version, I think it's called, isn't it? Where the seat wobbles around and they squirt things at you, and it was a delight. I was exhausted at the end of it, though.
Had a workout. And one of the differences, I think, with this Star Wars film is that you have two young Brits headlining it, Daisy and John Boyega. Does that make it a little bit more special, do you think?
I mean, yeah. I mean, British actors are always fantastic in anything, but yeah, nice to see two of the leads, Brits playing lead characters in Star Wars. It's fabulous. I mean, usually they're the villains, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's interesting now that we're kind of going against type a little bit there. So, yeah, it's fabulous.
Well, and the movie is obviously full of amazing characters. I wanted to know, do you prefer BB-8 or R2-D2?
Oh, poor old R2, though. I mean, this little BB-8's come along and he's took everyone's droid heart, hasn't he? I mean, he is a fun character, though, isn't he, BB-8? Terrific. Considering he's just two spheres, basically, or one sphere and a half a sphere, there's so much character, isn't there, and so much personality.
It's genius.
Thanks to also Ben Burt, who's the brilliant sound designer who gives BB-8 his voice. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm a big BB-8 fan. Mm-hmm. But we mustn't forget R2, must we? No. With his soft Kenny Baker centre.
And so, speaking about your family earlier, you've also done some work with them, and I remember watching an episode of Weekend Escapes. Yeah. I mean, how great is that? You basically get to holiday around the country with your family for ITV. Was it great? Yeah,
it was lovely. Yeah, the series was set to sort of really champion the UK as a holiday destination rather than going abroad, and yeah, travelling around with my family, basically having a holiday and dragging a camera crew along with us. Although it's hard work, it's you don't usually go to like 4 museums in one day, do you, when you're on holiday? But that's the kind of schedule we had to keep to kind of film all the segments. So we kind of needed a holiday after the holiday.
I understand that. But speaking of museums, I'm not sure what's going there.
Sorry, my flight's just arrived. I'll have to go in a minute.
But yeah, speaking of museums, one of the places you went was my home county, Cumbria. And you went to the Pencil Museum. I didn't even know that existed. Why have you been so many times?
There is a museum all about pencils, okay? And a pencil is a very simple thing, but there's a whole museum dedicated to something we all take for granted. And I love it. I've been there maybe 10 times. But I'm a bit worried, though. I don't know you're from the area, but I remember seeing an aerial picture of Keswick, and it looked very much like the Pencil Museum was underwater. Can anyone tell me that it's not? Because I'm a bit worried.
I have no idea.
But it's very interesting. If you're in Cumbria and if it isn't underwater, then please go and see the Pencil Museum and support it. It's brilliant. You learn all about pencils through the ages, colouring pencils, and then you can buy more crayons than you'll ever need in your life in the gift shop at the end. And it's brilliant.
So what's your top pencil fact?
Well, you know, somebody said this isn't right, but isn't a pencil one of the writing implements they took into space because it works in space, unlike a pen? But then someone said they couldn't in case it caused a spark. The lead can cause a spark, or the graphite.
I feel like I'm less
but I don't
pencil
know.
aware than you.
Any scientific thoughts here? Oh, you are you, sir? Is that true or not? Right.
So the Russians designed a pencil, and then
Yeah.
NASA managed to design a pen that
Yeah.
worked in space.
Exactly. I've got one of those space pens. So basically, the scientist is agreeing with me. Thank you. That's all we'll say.
Okay, so we're going to let you guys ask questions in just a short moment. So if you guys want to stick your hands up for me, and I will come around to you.
Somebody outside the boundaries there. Are they allowed to ask a question?
If I can reach you, just about.
Look at him. He's waving front. He's trying to get in the boundaries.
Is he
No,
just
sorry.
waving?
Have you been searched? Are you allowed in? He's got in. He's broken in. Okay, he's got a question.
Security.
Are we going to ask this chap or not?
Okay, let's go.
You've
Why
got to
not?
go, have you?
Managed to break. Yeah.
Right, now it's my show. Okay.
Hi, Warwick.
Hello.
Who's the most difficult actor or actress to work with?
Who let him in? Who let this guy in? That's a really difficult question for me to answer, isn't it? You know, actors do have a kind of reputation for sometimes being difficult and awkward to work with. Yeah, I've met a few. I'm not going to name them, of course, but there are a few from time to time. You think, well, come on, just chill out. You don't need to have attitude. You know, if you're not enjoying what you do for a living, then you shouldn't be doing it. Go do something else. And I don't think some actors don't consider how lucky they are to be doing the job they do. You know, it's not a boring 9-to-5 desk job. It's a job that takes you all over the world. Can be quite difficult at times, but nonetheless, it's one which you should enjoy. And if you don't, do something else.
Well, one person that you've worked with who's kind of known for being grumpy is Karl Pilkington. Is he really kind of miserable in real life?
He is known for being grumpy. I wouldn't say Karl is grumpy. Karl is somebody who's just annoyed at everything, really. I mean, he just gets kind of annoyed at stuff, at simple things, but then he puts it in a funny way that makes you laugh and sort of takes the edge off the situation anyway.
Yeah.
He's terrific. I get on very well with Karl, and I just really enjoy disagreeing with him. So if he has an opinion, I'm more than happy to completely go with the opposite opinion, just to wind him up.
For entertainment purposes.
Yep.
Well, one scene I love from your road trip with Karl Pilkington is that he manages to get you in a harness floating above the ground in balloons.
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, it was a bit worrying, you know, because these balloons went up and they had some safety lines to stop me obviously drifting off. But the safety lines were being held by children, local children, who didn't really understand what was going on. They just thought it was brilliant that they had a man on the end of a bit of string. And you know what the safety precaution was? If these kids and Karl had accidentally let go, they hung a pair of scissors on a string onto the side of the harness I was wearing. So they said, look, if you end up going off, before you get to Albania, start cutting the strings, but don't cut them all at once. Can you imagine the terror?
Let the balloons go one by one.
So I would have had to cut them to gradually, you know, descend again, you know, before I went into the next country.
Unbelievable. Okay, so have you guys got any questions out there?
Hi. You wore lots of cool prosthetics in Harry Potter. What was your favourite costume that you've ever worn for anything?
My favourite costume I've ever worn, what, just in Harry Potter or in anything? You know, the makeup for Grip Hook was pretty amazing. It took 4.5 hours to apply it. And for me, it was brilliant being so totally transformed. Because for that, not only did I have the prosthetic makeup, I had these amazing teeth and also 23mm contact lenses to wear. So, yeah, I've never been quite so immersed in a character before. And it made it much easier to play. You know, when I looked in the mirror, I wasn't looking back anymore. It was a completely different character, so it's fascinating. Yeah, I think it's got to be one of my favourite sort of looks of any character that I've ever played. Yeah.
The next question over here.
Hello.
Hi, I was just wondering what your favourite memory from working on Harry Potter was.
My favourite memory of working on Harry Potter would be working with the people, the cast, the crew, who made the films such a brilliant experience and so brilliant for you guys to watch. You know, we all work very hard together through, you know, very difficult times, sometimes out in the wind and rain through the night for weeks on end and things like that. So we all became very close. And yeah, the cast were fantastic. You know, the younger cast, brilliant, but also the older veteran actors, the great British actors that were involved were a real pleasure to be considered one of for the time of filming, you know, and I really never felt worthy of being there. It was a fabulous experience. So yeah, there are my favourite memories of the people that made those films.
Next question over here.
Hello, it's a
What was
princess.
your favourite film?
My favourite film? What, the one that I'm, a film that I'm in or a film that I watch?
Film that you're in.
Oh, okay. That's a hard question, that is. Favourite film that I'm in? I don't know. I mean, I don't tend to watch them very much, but I mean, I think for memories, the Harry Potter films, but for giving me the career and the life that I have, I think it's got to be Return of the Jedi as Wicket the Ewok. What's your favourite film that I've been in? Have you seen any of the films I've been in? Narnia, The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. That was a good film, wasn't it? Thank you for liking that. Although I got killed in it, didn't I? By Trumpkin, he killed me.
I mean, considering how many amazing films you've been in, what would you say fans ask you the most about, or seems to be your most popular film?
Well, you know, considering I've done all of these Hollywood movies and had quite an interesting, exciting career, all I do get asked about is what's Karl Pilkington like? I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, people, they ask me about Star Wars, they ask me about Harry Potter, they ask me about Leprechaun, if they're slightly odd. So yeah, it's a whole range of different things, yeah.
Because one thing I found out, which I thought was interesting, is that you actually kind of made a couple of Ewok films that were based on you, essentially. And
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's watched any of
Yeah,
those.
the first one was called an Ewok movie, Caravan of Courage, and the second one is Ewok's Battle for Endor. And basically they kind of tell the story of Wicket, his kind of Ewok family, and a human family that kind of happened to be on the planet of Endor. And yeah, they're kind of fun. Wicket learned to speak some words of English as well, which was really cool.
Yeah. And one movie where you're not wearing prosthetics and you're not in some magical world, it's actually in Ray.
And the film Ray, yeah, the
Yeah.
biopic about the life of Ray Charles.
Yes.
And that's a really popular film, actually. Yeah, I often get talked to about that movie.
What was
yeah,
it
was
like
nice to
then?
play myself a little
Yeah.
bit more. You know, I just had a nice hat on from that period, and we filmed it in New Orleans, actually. Even though the scenes that I'm in aren't really set in New Orleans, we filmed down there. The whole movie was filmed in New Orleans, and Jamie Foxx is just an amazing actor. He completely immersed himself in this character of Ray Charles and brought him to life. I mean, it was
Yeah.
incredible.
He sounded great in it.
Yeah, and Jamie is a pianist, a trained pianist, and could play, but the actual piano you hear on the movie is Ray Charles playing, but it's Jamie singing,
Oh, okay.
even though Jamie can also play.
Right. Wow. Any more questions?
From filming Star Wars, what
Yeah.
was your favourite experience out of all of them?
Apart from Star Wars or in Star Wars?
In Star Wars.
Well, my favourite experience being in it. That's difficult. I think I've got to really think back 33 years ago when I was 11, the time I walked onto set and saw for the first time Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, who to me were not these actors, they were Han Solo, Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker, and to get to meet them and be able to talk to them was just such an amazing experience. You know, much like, you know, you guys sitting here now, seeing me. That was a bit of tongue-in-cheek, that was. But, you know, it was brilliant. I mean, to be face-to-face with my heroes and be able to have a conversation with them. I think it wore a bit thin in the end with them because I would talk to them between every take and ask them stuff about Star Wars. But I don't think there had been anyone so young on a Star Wars set at that point. So they kind of let it go. I didn't understand the etiquette that you don't really go up and start chatting to the lead actors, you know. But it was fun.
Did you give any tips to the new guys and new girls on the set of Star Wars this time?
No, I didn't. I mean, I said it's going to be crazy. Once this movie comes out, you know, it's going to be crazy. And I think they kind of understood what was coming, you know what I mean? But that's why these films are made. You know, it's the support of the fans. And that's why we have these huge gaps and it doesn't seem like there's going to be more Star Wars. And then suddenly there is, and there's loads of it because the fans have stuck with it through all of those years.
And Harry Potter and the Leprechaun movies. And
Indeed, they still stick with it. Although I'm not sure whether we're going to see any more Leprechaun movies, but nonetheless, the love and support is still there.
So finally, can you tell us what you're up to at the moment?
Got loads of stuff going on at the moment. Much of it I can't talk about because it's all highly secret, but some exciting things afoot. One thing I can talk about is something I'm involved with as a producer and also as a performer. I am co-producing a new musical called Eugenius. And it's all about, it's a love story set against the backdrop of the 1980s and all the stuff that many of you guys here know and love, kind of 80s popular culture, the movies, the comic books, the stuff that was going on in the 80s. It's an original musical as well. Unusually now, really, because a lot of musicals are jukebox musicals where, you know, we take songs that we know, but there's 24 original tracks in this. What's really exciting is, before we go and do a run of this, hopefully in the West End next year, on the 29th of June, so about a month away, we're putting on a concert performance of the show at the London Palladium. And you guys can come, okay? So there are tickets on sale. Not many, but there are tickets on sale for this. Usually these sorts of things happen behind closed doors for investors, but we're inviting people to come and see it. So if you want tickets, go to eugeniusthemusical.com. And Eugenius is spelled EUGENIUS, eugeniusthemusical.com. Tickets are there. It's a star-studded evening. I'm in the show as well, so I'll be there. But there's a whole host of West End stars who are going to give their time and come and do this because they really love the show. And it's written by two brilliant lads. Chris was here earlier and I spoke to him on stage, but he is a comic book fan and he wrote a musical that he wanted to see. And it's a lot of fun. It's very funny. Yeah, I can't say enough about it, but it is fabulous. So go to eugeniusthemusical.com. There's a podcast if you want to hear about the creation of the musical, and also a YouTube channel where you can hear some of the tracks as well to get a flavour of what it's like. And we'd love to see you there on the 29th of June at the Palladium. And there's an exclusive gift that you'll get that no one else will get just for that night for coming along and supporting what will hopefully be next year's hit musical.
Wow. Well, does that mean that we're going to hear you sing?
You do hear me sing, yeah. I mean, that's worth the ticket price alone, surely. Because normally only my wife hears that from the bathroom. So, yeah, it's great. I have two numbers in the show. I play the villain of the piece. I shall say no more. But it's kind of the superhero. The hero of the piece is called Tough Man. And he's come out of this young Eugene's imagination, who's a kind of a young kid in America who's a comic book writer, and yeah, he's come up with this character, Tough Man, but the villain of the piece is me. But I'm going to say no more than that. You'll have to come and see the show to find out.
Fantastic. Well, I'm so sure you'll agree that it's been a brilliant panel. And so everyone, if you can just give a big round of applause to our guest.
Thank you, everyone.
Warwick Davis.
Cheers.